Okay, continuing on, build log number 4 of the Taro 680 hexacopter. I've gone ahead, take the bottom plate off and put thread locker on every screw and then put them back together. Take the top plate off and install the power distribution board. On the thread locker, you need to make sure you use the Loctite, the blue thread locker, not the red. The red, although it's said to be for high temp applications, all I know is if you put the red on, it'll never come apart again. The red stuff is just bomb-proof. You'll strip the screws trying to get it apart. So use the blue. It even says removable on here, so you can take it apart and put it back together again, because sooner or later you're sure to have a crash, and you may just have to do that. Now the next thing is to start installing the arms and the rest of the craft itself. Big question is, do I do it with the top plate on or top plate off? I'm thinking the top plate off. You only get one single sheet of instructions with just exploded diagrams on them, so you're kind of left up to your own to figure it out. Luckily, everything is individually bagged, so I should be able to figure it out pretty easy. And let's just get this thing going and see how it goes. Okay, here we go. I just got the landing gear installed. What kind of a pain in the ass. There's a couple guys that explain this on the internet, and there's some problems you run into. This is one of the problems with it already being pre-assembled. I actually had to disassemble it. I was trying to figure it out. Disassemble a piece, get the screws up in there, then go ahead and reassemble it. Plus, there's no Loctite on any of this, so I have to pull it apart and Loctite it anyways. And then I was warned that these landing gears are kind of a crappy design right here. The first one, the screws worked really good. They kind of gripped it. And the second one, it was too loose, so I put a piece of black tape on it, but then it was too thick. So for right now, it's just temporarily put together, and I'll deal with it later. Not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but yeah, it's good enough to go ahead and continue working on. So these little things were a real pain in the butt. But now what's going to happen is, let's see what we got here. These tubes are going to, there's another set of these that are going to capture the arm here, back here, and then, so it's going to lay right into here. There'll be two sets, and then they'll clamp it, kind of clamp it together. And then when the top plate goes on, everything will capture it. These are, the two side arms are the ones that are static. They don't fold. The rest of the arms have this little end on there, and they'll pivot from side to side. So hopefully this turns out. The only thing I'm worried about is if I'm going to be able to relieve the strain on my wires from my power distribution board and still have enough. It looks like I'm going to have enough no matter what to get the bullets welded or soldered on. So we'll see how it goes. We'll continue on. We're going to take a break for today, though. All right, and that's it. Okay, before I finish up with the next segment of the video, I wanted to give you a little bit better close-up of here. This is the top of the section that I'm going to start working on now. You can see the power distribution board, and all of the wires are running roughly to where they're going to go. So these are going to the ESCs. Here's my two power leads, which will come from the battery. And here is the NASA PMU, which will fold over and go up onto the top deck. And then I also have all my little leads here for the accessories. So that's pretty much it. Okay, we're ready to put the top section on right now. This is what it looks like. I've actually ran the wires through the arms along with some strings. And this is, I don't know how I'm going to run it right, but I have a control wire coming from the flight controller going to the ESCs, and I want to go ahead, I may want to run that through the carbon fiber arm. I may not want to. I don't know yet. But I'll put these strings in here so I can pull it back if I decide to do that. Generally speaking, you'll never run a control wire or a communication line in the same line that you have a power line or in the same conduit. But It's not really a huge deal in this instance, so I may or may not do it. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. The hard part is, you can see I've got the screws on the lower section down here on these arms. These are your arms that pivot. They'll snap into here when it's open, and then when you fold the crap, they'll snap into here. I'm not going to snap them right now because it's pretty cold outside. I don't want to risk breaking anything until I get it all clamped together. The hard part is getting these little screws through the top deck, because they're also, I'll have to go ahead and put these on the top deck, these little dealies here, and then go ahead and screw it all together. And that's going to be difficult because those, I might have to waller out those holes a little bit so everything just slaps together. Otherwise than that, it's ready to go. So let's put it together and see how it turns out. Okay, top plate's on. It's all screwed together. The arms are in the open position right now. A couple things you may have seen in the time lapse. The landing gear had to come back off. These two screws right here, to get to the underside of them, I had to take the gear off and then clamp this down to capture this arm right here, and then put the gear back on. Then I could put this one on. Same thing on the other side. Real pain in the ass. I forgot about it. Forgot to mention it earlier. I thought or suspected that might happen. Everything else went together really good. About halfway through getting the top deck, I remembered that there's an additional deck that goes up here, and I forgot to put those screws in. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Oh well, I'll just deal with it, and I'll get them in one way or another, working from underneath. I'm not even going to try to take the deck back off and do it again. So there it is. It's pretty much together now, except for that additional deck. That should conclude this video right here. I'll go ahead and next video I'll mount the motors, level everything, mount the ESCs, and then put all the components on the top, and we'll see how it goes. So until then, we'll see you then.